All right. Welcome to the Daily Parks and Rec Show. I am your host, Craig LeBlanc, bringing you live show 12 noon Eastern, Monday through Friday, bringing live interviews, creating media content across all social media platforms for Parks and Rec, for the Parks and Rec community of America. So you can tune in weekdays to see some of these interviews, updates, and news in Parks and Rec. We had a great show yesterday with Shonnda Smith. She is from Mobile, Alabama, she is now calling her home. Her entire family has moved there. We had like a 1 hour interview yesterday. I've been knowing Shonnda for quite some time. She was one of the first Park and Rec directors I had met when I had gotten involved in Parks and Recreation. And we have remained close friends ever since. So she has been quite a leader, not just for her local community, but also very active in her state association and very active in NRPA, and has been trying to get me to speak at NRPA and other conventions about what I do. And I finally bit the bullet and applied for a speaker to be a speaker at the Orlando convention. So hopefully they accept it, and you'll be able to hear me give a presentation on exactly what I'm doing now. So I am preparing for this talk all year because I will be telling you exactly how to build a podcast for your city, how to take advantage of this new information age, this new social media age where everyone is on their phones, on their apps, consuming content, getting news, doing research. It seems like all of our information, whether it be news, social, events, what's going on, just anywhere in my life, people are going, and even our shopping habits are going to Instagram, Facebook, X, LinkedIn, you name it. I don't know about y'all, but it looks like I'm spending a lot more of my time, whether it is I'm looking for something to buy, or I'm looking to connect with friends and family, or I'm looking to connect with my peers, like in Parks and Recreation. And I thought that I'd seen a void in Parks and Recreation, that there is really not anyone producing good media content for the Parks and Rec community. For those of you that don't know, I created the Bitcoin Daily Show along with some other people. And in the Bitcoin community, there is a ton of great Bitcoiners producing really good content all over the earth. And I was just one of that community of content creators. I learned so much from very good content creators on how to do live shows, how to do video, how to do interviews. And the whole time I was doing this, I was like, I wish there were more or any content creators going to create similar media for the Parks and Rec community. So I, after a quick search of not finding much, I think NRPA does a weekly podcast. It might be daily. I know I've listened to it a couple times, but that was one of the few things I can find. NRPA does produce a good magazine. There's a couple newsletters. And then there are quite a few cities that do have marketing departments. And these marketing departments are producing news content, keeping up social media pages updated, keeping websites updated for those cities. But I really didn't find anything specific to the like general news that would be more national. I also saw that in the Facebook group that we created, Parks and Rec Done Right, we've got about 5,000 members, that people were asking general questions about how to run a 5K, about what do you do, about people, maybe fitness coaches coming into your gyms and charging without paying a membership, or maybe to recommend a good splash pad, or how to deal with chemicals. I mean, there was all sorts of questions, and directors and superintendents and assistant directors and programmers were coming on to the the Parks and Rec Done Right Facebook group and just asking general questions. And the answers would pile in from the community from all across America. And so as I saw that this was a very organic way that the community was using its own kind of brain trust of the nations that were in the group, the nation's talent, I was able to see and witness real time how it was just providing really good real time value to the community. And I thought, we really need to take this up to another level and just create a full on show. I did this again with the Bitcoin community. So I'm basically going to do what I did for the daily Bitcoin and do it for the daily Parks and Rec. One of the issues I had with the daily Bitcoin show was that I really didn't have a team of editors that could take the long form content, which is basically what the live show is. Let's say a 1 hour live interview, and then create a couple of shorts and a thumbnail, and then have a distribution team that would then take those digital assets and then post them on LinkedIn and on X and all the different accounts that any community or any city or any marketing team is going to be a part of. So it's kind of a three-part three-step process. You need to create the content, which is the lives that we do here on the daily Parks and Rec show, or sometimes I'll be at a convention and we'll record them live and do like 15 of them at a state convention. So that's kind of capturing it. And that's about, let me break that down a little while I'm on the topic. It's about what hardware do I need? So what microphone, what camera, what cables, mixer boards, all that kind of stuff. How do you capture what kind of lighting? Where do you put the lighting? What kind of background noise, the stage, whether you've got a bookshelf in the back or you just, maybe have a green screen. It's just, okay, how do we set up the stage, the equipment? What kind of equipment do we use? And so I'm going to create a roadmap that I'm going to gift to the community and say, here's like a version 1, just cheap as possible, maybe use some of the tools you have, and maybe just $500 or something where you can just buy this stuff on Amazon. It's good enough to get you started. This is everything you need. Maybe even we can just do a free version to where you're using just your phone and your headsets and that kind of stuff. That can be like a version 1. And then we can have like, okay, if you have $500 for your little marketing team at your city, I would spend this on this mic that you can get really inexpensively, or even if you can find it used. A lot of this stuff does not go bad. Some of these mics are extremely good, but they're just maybe a couple of models old, so you can get them really inexpensive secondhand online, because you might not know this, but people that are really nerdy about, and Nate's one of these, he won't mind that I'm making fun of him a little, but you'll find that some of these people are a little nerdy when it comes to, they want the latest mic and the latest camera and the latest lens. And as soon as Canon comes out with something a little bit better, they got to have it. And so they're always looking for an excuse to sell their outdated equipment that is 10x better than what we have. And so they'll put it online, get that extra money, plow it into the latest and greatest, which is not something you need to start a podcast for a city. So either you can go with what you have, which comes with your phone and with your laptop, or you can have a little upgrade on some used high quality professional grade equipment, on up to, if you have a little bit of a budget, we can kind of help you guide you along that. I'm just going to put the roadmap together for the entire country's worth of Parks and Rec community so that you can just get started. My goal is for everybody to just launch some version of a podcast, some version of a media creation team, even if it's just a part-time intern that you have locally that's maybe still in college in graphics design or media creation. And this could just be some way for you to get the content you need out. And what kind of content might a city want to get out? Let me give you an example. It could be, hey, we got baseball season starting and we need, 70 high school kids to work the concession stands. So if you're looking for a summer job, come work at the concession stands during the baseball tournament we're hosting. That's another great example of people just needing part-time work, from young kids in high school to work concession stands and to work as lifeguards. We also have, you can make an announcement that Little League is starting up. The deadline to sign up is this: get your kids registered. There's, hey, if you're going to, Shonda made a great one. If you're going to host an event at a park, this is the step-by-step video that we've hosted or that we've created for you to create a site map and tell us the date and make sure we book it and all that kind of stuff, so you can actually explain to people, encourage people to use the parks, but here's how you use the parks. And then if you just use the park unannounced, make sure you pick up your trash and so we can keep the park looking good for the whole city. You can also make announcements of grand openings. Hey, we're redoing the gym, we're redoing a playground, we're having a grand opening, we're having a band. We just spent $1 million on this all-inclusive playground so that, handicapped children and elderly can maybe sit on this swing with their grandchildren. And, there's all kind of stuff like that cities announce, whether they're grand opening of a new splash pad, a new playground, a new gym, whether we've got Little Leagues coming up. I mean, the list goes on and on of how you could use what essentially is going to turn out to be a local news channel for your Parks and Rec community. Not only is it going to get the word out, but you're going to be shocked at how good you get at delivering a daily message to your people. I can imagine the mayor is going to love this, because these are elected officials that like to stay forward facing, like to be the face of the community, the face of the town, along with your directors. So your Park and Rec directors, your mayors, I'm sure they're going to want to stop by now and then and just say hello, because these are elected officials. So while they're in office, I'm sure they're going to want to be in front of the community. And this is a way for them to do that, but also in general for you to communicate to the people. These are just ideas that you could use of why we would want this and how would it be useful. So as I build this out for the Daily Parks and Rec Show, and we've already got several cities that want us to help them build out theirs, which I said I would help 5 cities. First come, first serve. We still have a few slots left open. So if you would like me to help you, no charge, I'm going to do this. We actually have a sponsor for the show that we're going to start doing a few ad reads at the end. But that being said, if there are any vendors listening to this or that you've worked with, whether it's a playground company, a lighting company, a lawnmower manufacturer, anything like that, let me know. And we'd love to have them sponsor a show, a single show or a monthly show. We'll come up with something. We don't have any sponsors right now except for the one that just committed to us. And we'll use that money to fund the editing, the distribution, and the creation. And then there's a whole tech stack, which that'll bring me to my second point. I kind of got derailed off it for the first point of the hardware that you'll need. But there are some bills that you'll need to pay, some monthly subscriptions that you would want to subscribe to make your editing and distribution much more simple. Even the content creation, I use StreamYard, and I know they have an affiliate link. I should probably get one. That way, in case any of you use StreamYard, the Daily Parks and Rec Show will get like a little commission on that. And that's another way that you can maybe have these podcasts kind of pay for themselves. We'll come up with little ways for that. Maybe you can get local sponsors. If a town does a lot of business with a local vendor, then that local vendor may pay to come on to the show and just thank the community for giving them the work and maybe tell them a little about ourselves. So maybe it's a win-win. You can get some local sponsorship. And so as I pioneer this and kind of push this out and how this is done on the new social media and stuff, we're just going to share it with everybody so that hopefully we can get the Parks and Rec community nationwide building all their little local media companies and kind of like your own little news channel. So anyway, that's kind of what we're doing here. So let me move on to number two. The second thing, after you've got your hardware stack, this is after you've captured everything. All right, we've got the second thing that you've got to do, which means you've got to edit it, right? So you're going to have to take the long form raw unedited, you hand it to your editing team, and they're going to make sure the sound's right. They're going to make sure the video's right. They're going to maybe cut out a lot of the dead sections. Maybe you had you will most certainly have some glitches where you lost the video feed to the other person. Maybe their computer went dead. So there's like a 5-minute blackout in the middle of your interview. Or maybe you want to add something like an ad read at the end, or you want to do an introduction on every episode. So we're going to show you the software we use for that, the editing software, the graphics design software. There's AI tools that can make your shorts really simple. And there's also AI tools that you can ask, hey, go find the most compelling part of this 1-hour video and make me a 60-second short, and then flash the words across the bottom and then come up with a tagline. And AI that can do that. Now you want to have one of your interns kind of do that for you. But as we put all this together for the Daily Parks and Rec show, we're just going to again share the roadmap with y'all on the tech stack. All right, so you've gotten step one, which is content creation, hardware, all that kind of stuff. What do you need to capture this stuff? Pass it to step two, which is editing, cutting, pasting, making thumbnails, making shorts, cleaning up the long form. And then you shift it to you hand it over to step three, like a little assembly line. You make it, you edit it, and then you hand it to distribution, which is they then go and distribute it across all the platforms that the city is using. So whether it's a Facebook page, or you might have a really good piece that you want to create a video that's going to go on the city's website. Maybe it's going to go into their X account, or it's going to go into their LinkedIn profile. Whatever it is that you want to use it for. And so what you'll have is basically you'll end up creating an in-house media company that then could be used for the whole city. So you can imagine that if you've got a 1 or 2 person or half a person media company producing daily content and getting really good at it, and having the hardware set up and having the software set up and having to know how to distribute this stuff, then maybe the fire chief wants to come in and do a little thing on fire safety. And then that might be something that they put on the city's website under fire department. Maybe same thing for police department. Maybe same thing for the water department. Maybe the same thing for aquatics. And you can imagine where this is going is now you have a production team in-house that has just now got the opportunity to create daily content and to get good at it. And so after 6 months or a year of producing daily content, now every department in the whole city would then be able to come use this. So imagine the value you could bring to a city as far as just cleaning things up, getting the messages out, making sure the messages are look good and are on the right platforms and stuff. That's kind of where my head's going with all this. But as always, I've always been a big believer in bringing you into the kitchen and showing you how to cook. And sometimes it's messy, and sometimes we go one direction and then we end up shifting a little because the community has spoken that maybe this is more valuable than what we originally thought. So that's kind of how I build stuff. Okay, so let me just run through a few updates before I go ahead and close it out. We just wanted to thank Shonnda. She is from City of Mobile. She was formerly the Parks and Rec director, now has moved up so that now the director is under her, and she's over utilities. And I think before you know it, she's going to run the whole city. I think she might be running for mayor. I think after that, she's going to run for governor and then president of the United States and potentially the world. Shonnda, you got my vote. Love you. Thank you so much for coming on yesterday. She is such a smart girl. One of the best and brightest. So glad to have her on the show, and we are lucky to just have her as part of the Parks and Rec community. And thank you so much for encouraging me to do this thing I'm doing right now. Shonnda has been one of the people that has encouraged me to do this. And she's encouraged me to speak at NRPA, which I will do this year if accepted. And without people telling me, Craig, I love the show, I love what you're doing, keep going. It's those signals that I'm getting from people that it's valuable to y'all. And I would hate to do something that the community does not find valuable. So if there is anything that we are doing in the show that either you find valuable or you find that's really not that valuable, either one, I take all criticisms. I put the egos aside, and I just love feedback. So please give me feedback in the comments of these videos. Please give me feedback in the comments of the Daily Parks and Rec, other social media platforms, whether it's in LinkedIn or Facebook or the Parks and Rec Done Right Facebook group, anywhere. Give me the harsh feedback. Hey, Craig, we don't like Fro on the shelf here. Take her down. I might not do that though. Or your sound is way off, or your lighting is terrible, or I would love to hear you talk more about fill in the blank, and then we can do that. And that way it's really community driven. It's community built. It's based off of the feedback that we're getting from our listeners, our viewers, the community we're serving. We want to build something that the community says is valuable, and that's where we're going to put our efforts. We're going to build no matter what. I'm going to show up every day and build something. So do you want me to build something that 20, 30 people, Parks and Rec directors, superintendents, aquatics people, whoever had said, it would be great if we had this, and then we go spend 20, 30, 40, 50 hours building that? Or would you rather me just, think of something that I think might be useful without the guidance of the general community? So I really need and appreciate all the guidance and input and criticisms, good, bad, indifferent, does not matter. Every criticism is a good criticism. And we will take them all to heart as we build this out for y'all. And then a lot of that is going to turn into the quality of what I'm going to hand back to the community and say, here's the roadmap. And is it going to be a good roadmap that's very well defined and actually works? Or is it going to be a roadmap you can hardly read and doesn't work? And a lot of that's going to depend on the feedback we get from the community. So the more feedback, the better. I read all the comments. I read that I can get my hands on. And we roll that back into let's see. In my former world, we would call that you create an MVP. That's called a minimum viable product. You get it in the hands of clients, and you get a tight feedback loop, which means you stay close to that feedback that your people, that your community is giving you on what you're producing. And then you iterate quickly, which means you try to move from version 1, which is your MVP, your minimum viable product. And the new iteration, version 2, contains all the critiques, corrections, improvements incrementally. And then you want to shorten the cycle between version 1 and version 2. So do you want the distance between version 1 and version 2 to be a 6-month or a 1 month or a 1 week? And so the tighter the feedback loop and the quicker you can cycle from version 1 to version 2, the better you can just improve along the way. So that's how we're going to build this. So please, I say all that to say, please give me all the feedback you can. Really appreciate that. All right. I will be building the LinkedIn account for the Daily Parks and Rec Show. I'm finally getting back into LinkedIn. I know a lot, and this was a suggestion from you, from the community. A lot of you are on LinkedIn. Golly, a lot of you are on LinkedIn, especially the directors. So we're going to be really active on LinkedIn next year. So as soon as I build out the Daily Parks and Rec Show account on LinkedIn, I'll be sharing that across the Facebook group and X and across all my personal platforms. But I really want to build it for the Daily Parks and Rec Show. So please like and follow, subscribe, whatever it is on LinkedIn. I forget the words they use. Isn't that crazy? Like, let's see, on YouTube, you subscribe. On X, you follow. on Facebook, I think you're a member. It's all the same thing though. I don't know. Still trying to figure out all these words. It seems like they're always changing. One's a post and one's a tweet and one's a one's a short, one's a reel. Who knows? We'll get it all together and try to simplify this for y'all with all the different. I think one thing I'm going to have to create, actually, I've already started to create a glossary of terms so that when you say long form, what does that mean? When you say short or reel, what does that mean? So you almost need like a new vocabulary inside this new social media content creation, editing, distribution. You're missing like about 200 to 300 words so that you can talk the language of this social media content creation and distribution stuff. Anyway, okay. As I said before, we now have our first sponsor of the show. Thank you so much. We'll be creating some little ad pieces for them, just 20, 30 seconds to say, here's what we do. Please support the sponsor. Because without them, we couldn't pay for all this. We couldn't scale it. We couldn't pay our editors. Right now, I'm just paying all this out of pocket. So just to get it going. But thank you for that. And I have not even asked others yet, but I know there's a couple others that we've interviewed before that I think would be great fits for this. So if you know someone, and right now the Facebook group, this does not, it's only for Parks and Rec members. So there really are no vendors on there. So I'm really going to depend on the community to recommend a vendor that they think would be a good fit. So here's a little homework. If you're a superintendent and director and you have a vendor that you've worked with for many years, they know Parks and Rec, they support Parks and Rec, they support the state convention, they support NRPA, they've been benefactors for whatever it is the cities need. These are the ones that we would like to highlight and advertise for. And so please make a recommendation for me. Get me in touch with whoever y'all think would be good for that. And we will consider if it's a good fit, we'll have them on the show. Obviously, I don't want to have a bunch of ad reads, so I'm only going to do maybe 1 or 2 per show. And then we'll figure out how to, what's a good value for them as the show grows. Because obviously when it's new, there's not as many people, the accounts aren't as big, but as it grows, it's going to have a larger audience. And so hopefully we can help some really good vendors get in touch with some really good cities and y'all can do business together. And that'll support the show. And we won't have to charge anything for some of the other stuff I want to build. So I do want to build some stuff that is for the cities, for the media company, for the media divisions or departments of cities, for the marketing teams. I want to build stuff for the designers and stuff. So, and we want to provide all that free because a lot of these departments don't have funding. It's a part-time job of a part-time person. It's one of the many hats that maybe a director gets. And so we know they're going to be strapped for cash. And so as much as I can, I want to make this completely free for any city, anything, any value we can provide, any roadmap we can give them, any help we can get them. We want to, make that as for nothing. So we want to produce this show and produce those assets on the back of maybe some advertisers that already do business with these communities. I think that's the way it should go. But I'm open to feedback on that. So please let me know what y'all think is best. Let's see. We are expanding our editing team. Yes. So I'm hoping by the end of this month, I will bring on another editor and a full-time distributor. So right now I have a part-time distributor, a full-time editor, and a part-time producer. So I'm hoping to pick up a few more full-time editors that can help produce better shorts, and a full-time distributor, which I've already got. She's moving right now. So as soon as she settles in, probably January 1, the distribution will look a lot better. And all that means is you'll start seeing the same content you're producing and that we're editing, but you'll see it distributed across more platforms more frequently, maybe more scheduled, a little bit cleaner, that kind of stuff, maybe more active comment sections. That's what the distributor is kind of in charge of. I think the official name for them is called SMM, Social Media Manager. They're not necessarily in editing. Sometimes they can be, And I think that's what I'm going to do well also. I'm going to help put together a great job description of talent you might want to look for in a city if you want, if you're looking for an intern or part-time talent or stuff. And then also, if you are a college kid and you would like to become a SMM, social media manager, and you're in design or you've created social media and you can create posts and do what I'm doing right now, and you would like to work for Parks and Recreation, perhaps we can start a little jobs board that if a city's hiring part-time or full-time in a city like that, um, maybe we can help place some college kids inside of Parks and Recreation inside of that. And so that would be, and actually I already see and know that the Parks and Rec Done Right Facebook group has been used in that capacity, that they have said, hey, we're looking for a new superintendent at, you know, small town USA, please send in resumes. And I've seen hundreds and hundreds of jobs being like the director may ask, please put in applications kind of stuff. So if we can do that, I'll probably make that just a regular part of the show, that we could maybe have just a job section that I can just sit here and read for 5 minutes. I mean, as long as it's not too long, I can say, small town USA is looking for their superintendent retired, their director retired. So anyone looking to move to Kansas, New York, Florida, wherever it is, maybe we can help that a little bit. I know that's a good service for the community, and that would be something that we could do as part of the show every day. Okay, so moving on. Let's see. So yes, expanding the team. Nate Martin, my producer, who actually helped produce and make, he's famous in the Bitcoin community because he started, not the founder, but he was one of the earliest contributor to the 99 Bitcoin. So if any of you ever seen 99 Bitcoin, he's famous among the Bitcoin community. And so I'm so honored to work with him, just because, I learned about Bitcoin from Nate. And now he's helping me to produce this show. He was one of the guys I reached out to and really connected with. And by the way, is a pro pickleball player and is amazing. He actually does that. He's a full-time pickleball player. And so if any of you have any pickleball questions, throw them at Nate. He's active on the Facebook group. I probably just need to get him on the show and do an episode for him just on pickleball, because I know almost every city in America is like, handling the pickleball mania. And he has set up a city that he does this full time and sets up all kind of stuff. And we've talked a little about pickleball. I am not as big into pickleball, but I know he could provide a good, decent amount of value around that topic. So Nate, let's do that. Let's put that on the calendar. I already need to get you on the show for production, as far as how do you produce a podcast? How do you record a podcast? What do you think about when it comes to lighting with sound and stuff? And Nate, this is what he's done his whole career since he was even a young boy. He used to help with sound stage and stuff with his father. And now he's expert pickleballer. And of course, if anyone needs anything at all about Bitcoin, me and Nate would be glad to help you out, because that's something, a little side project that we're super passionate about. So please reach out to me and I will talk your head off on that topic. Nate will talk your head off about pickleball. We will both talk your head off about Bitcoin and stuff. Okay, moving on. Nate, actually, I didn't even tell you what Nate was going to do for us. He is going to help me upgrade the sound. So right now I have this Yeti thing. It's like $180 mic I got from Best Buy. It might have been $150, and it kind of, I use this for the daily Bitcoin. I use this to launch this. And so now he's patient with me. He's like, Craig, it's time to upgrade your mic. So he's going to get me a fancy mic with a fancy stand and a fancy cable and a little mixer that plugs into my Mac. And hopefully the sound will be much better. If this all works out, and it's all his used equipment, this is his excuse to go buy the latest and greatest, holy floating down from heaven mic setup that he has. And I think it keeps his wife happy because she's not piling up all this excess equipment. So I'm giving him the excuse to sell me his old stuff so he can buy newer, better stuff. So we're going to get an upgrade here at the Daily Habits, the Daily Parks and Rec Show. All right, number 7. We've scheduled 7 interviews. I sent out probably about 40 requests on Messenger, and about the same on LinkedIn, about 10 on LinkedIn, on my personal LinkedIn account, just to directors saying, hey, I'd love to have you on the show. And we've had 7 schedule. So thank you all for scheduling. Some have already scheduled phone calls just to kind of go over topics. And so probably in January, you'll see these turn into what we did with Shonnda. So if the calendar's filling up, if you would like, please, I'm asking you, please come on the show. If you're a director and you've been doing this a while, you have a great story to tell, you would like to highlight your city, come on, let's get you on the show. If you would like to come with your superintendent and he talk about field maintenance, or you want to talk about pickleball, or you want to bring, we want to highlight what you are doing to the general community. So get in touch with me. Please say yes. If I ask you to come on the show, it's not nothing. I know a lot of people are like, oh, I'm on camera, I don't know what to say and stuff. It's literally like a fireside chat. Just watch what me and Shonnda did. You don't have to be some massive stage presence and kind of stuff. It's very relaxed. It's just recorded. And then, we give that to the community. And even if you're a little embarrassed or you think you don't know, remember, there are directors out there that might feel the same way you do, that when you step out and do something a little outside of your comfort zone, you're giving them permission to do the same. So hopefully you can be a leader in that way and show others, hey, it's not a big deal. Come on to the show. You got a lot to say, and it's valuable to the community for us to hear from our peers across the country about what they're doing in their local parks and rec departments. Okay. Just thank you for all the speakers that have come on so far. Thank you for sharing with the community. And lastly, just happy Christmas Eve here on the 24th. If I'm not mistaken, tomorrow is Christmas. So have a Merry Christmas from me and everyone at the Daily Parks and Rec Show. Thank you to our contributors. Thank you to our editors. Nate, thank you for production. Thank you to our distribution team. There's a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes. And thank you to our sponsor for helping out a little bit with the bills over here so that we can keep this thing going and provide something good. We'll be putting something together for them, and any other sponsors, please reach out to me. Thank y'all so much. Thank y'all for giving me this opportunity to serve y'all in this way. I really appreciate. And yes, the competition is still going on. I'm just right in the middle of the holidays. I am actually going to try to do a show tomorrow. No, I'm not going to try. I'm going to do a show tomorrow for noon, because why not come talk to my community here, my people in Parks and Recreation. So I will be seeing y'all tomorrow, Christmas Day, wishing y'all, might be a little shorter, but I'll be wishing y'all a Merry Christmas. So happy Christmas Eve, Merry Christmas, and Happy New Year. Thank y'all. Love y'all. Thank y'all so much for supporting me and letting me know that y'all find this valuable. Again, this is Craig LeBlanc, your host of the Daily Parks and Rec Show, airing weekdays, 12 noon Eastern. We'll see y'all here tomorrow. Thanks a lot.